Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for a Learning and Growing webinar on assignments designed for general education courses. Our presenter today is Dr. In Jen of Wesleyan College. My name is Sidra, and I'll be your moderator today for Hawks Learning. We will have a live Q&A session after the presentation, so please enter any questions you have into the Q&A module as we go, and we'll answer them at the end. I'll now hand it over to our presenter.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. How are you today? First of all, I'd like to thank Hawks Learning for having me again in order to share my teaching experience. It has been a pleasure sharing my teaching experience with Hawks Learning since I think 2021. So thank you. So today, my topic is assignments designed for general education courses. And from the first slide, you could see my information. I'm Associate Professor of Business and Economics at Wesleyan College. And also I'm the Economics Program Director. And this is my 11th year working at Wesleyan College, which is women's college. It's also the first women's college in the world, founded in 1836. First of all, let's take a look at the general education program setup at Wesleyan College. And we know that general education is very, very important for students in college, especially in their first 2 years, because they allow students to explore where their interests are before declaring their major. And also, it's a very, very essential part of any liberal arts institutions. And Wesleyan College is also a liberal arts college. So Wesleyan College's general education program, as you can see from this webpage, it gives students the chance to gain knowledge and develop skills needed to live purposefully and successfully in a rapidly changing world. Wesleyan College graduate sees the importance and makes connections among liberal arts disciplines, such as humanities and fine arts, social sciences, natural sciences, and mathematics. So for those who are new to general education, so again, this program enables mainly freshmen and sophomores to explore where their interests lie in order to help them declare their majors later, although some students declare their majors at the beginning of their college, but general education program enables students to learn across various disciplines. Okay, so here you can see that our program requires 34 to 35 credit hours and a minimum of 11 courses. And there are 4 academic divisions in our institution, and students need to take 2 courses with different prefixes from each of the following 4 academic divisions: fine arts, humanities, natural science and mathematics, social and behavioral sciences, and professional studies. And there are 6 domains of knowledge. So students also need to satisfy such requirements. So under each domain of knowledge, each student usually needs to take 2 courses. So they are historical events and phenomena, natural world, individuals and communities, thinking and expressing creatively, women's experiences. So as a women's college. So courses under this category are definitely of great importance. And lastly, diverse and interdependent world. So they are all very important domains. However, it's not very easy to find the same amount of courses and categorize them under each domain. Yeah, so this has been a challenge, but we are trying very hard to find appropriate courses for each domain. And my presentation today would share some examples of assignments designed for 3 general education economics courses under 3 different domains. They are intro-level economics courses. So one is issues in macroeconomics, which is under historical events. So here I'd like to point out that this course was used to under the last domain, which is diverse and interdependent world. And personally, I prefer that. But again, since it has been a challenge to include the same amount of courses under each domain, this course, Econ 102, has been moved to domain 1, which is historical events. But it also makes sense because macroeconomics studies the big picture of the economy, or we can say macroeconomics studies the climate of an economy, such as the unemployment rate, the inflation rate, economic growth rate. So the big environment affects everyone. And we definitely need to observe historical data and to find out the pattern of changes in the economy and eventually figure out solutions to some issues. So for example, the trend of the unemployment rate or the trend of the inflation rate. So both indicators require historical data for us to have a clear understanding about the economy. So how things have changed and what have caused such changes. Yeah. So that's why it also makes sense to include issues in macroeconomics under domain 1. And the other intro-level economics course, which is Econ 104, issues in microeconomics. This is under domain 3, individuals and communities. So this is definitely a perfect fit because microeconomics studies small economic actors, such as individuals, such as households, such as firms, or a single market, or a particular industry. So there are a lot of topics to explore at the micro level. And of course, microeconomics and macroeconomics are closely connected because if we want to learn the big picture, we have to examine the individual behavior or decisions. And the third class, which is a 200 level class, this class can be considered as a non-traditional economics course. It's called Women and Economic Development. In other institutions, this class can be called as economics of gender. Yeah. So as a women's college, this course is definitely of great importance. And this course is under domain 5, women's experiences. And this is a 200 level economics class. However, due to its uniqueness as a non-traditional economics class under the general education curriculum. This class does not require any prerequisites in economics. And students are, the student body is usually very, very diverse, making teaching this class pretty challenging. Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to share some assignments that would help satisfy the various student learning outcomes along with the reporting and response to data, because our institution requires us to report data every time we teach any general education course. Okay, so let's start with the first class, issues in macroeconomics under domain 1, historical events. There are 2 student learning outcomes. The first, one is analyzing change and continuity in the development of a particular historical event, behavior, or phenomenon. So in order to satisfy this student learning outcome, I assign a journal article for students to have discussions online. So here you can see I've been assigning Jacobson 1999 paper. So this is a very formal academic journal article. For the first year undergraduates, usually they feel it a big challenge to read very standard academic journal articles, but I feel this is a very, very necessary and helpful training, not just for my class, but for their reading skill and critical thinking skill, analytical skill in general, which would benefit other classes as well. Yeah, so this is a great study that analyzes the differences between male and females labor force participation trends in the US since 1900. So I asked them to summarize, comment, and analyze this article. And this is a lengthy article, but this is a highly organized article. So I think it's very, very appropriate to be assigned to first year, second year college students. And I encourage them to further condense this article and find out the exact reasons that result in the different patterns of men and women's labor force participation trends in the US. So I personally believe this would satisfy this student learning outcome very well. But as I said, I consider this presentation opportunity, right? I consider this presentation a great opportunity to basically to exchange views, to share my teaching experience. And I'm sure you may have better assignments. So I look forward to learning from you. Okay, so the other student learning outcome is to explain the connection between a current event, behavior, or phenomenon and an event or series of events in the past. So what I did is to assign students this question, because we've been in a pandemic, although we are at the end of it, it's still there. So I'd like them, I'd encourage them to apply the 45-degree line to show like the causes of Great Depression. So we know Great Depression happened around 1930s, right? So this is a question directly from the textbook, but I'd like them to expand this to the pandemic of COVID-19, basically to apply the same model and to explain why depression happened during the pandemic, and what are the leading reasons. Yeah, so this assignment aims to develop their analytical skill on economic recession, and also it encourages them to relate the past events to the current events, especially by using the same model. So I think this assignment could satisfy the other student learning outcomes. And for the second course, which is issues in microeconomics, which is under domain 3, individuals and communities, there are also 2 student learning outcome under this domain. The first one is to analyze how individual and social processes and behaviors shape specific institutions, policies, or outcomes. And my assignment is an end of chapter question from the textbook. I'm using Hubbard and O'Brien for both intro level macroeconomics and microeconomics. So this question is about externality, which is negative externality, because those dry cleaners generate air pollution. So students need to use a graph to show its negative externality effect. And then what government can do to help internalize such negative externality. So I believe this assignment could satisfy the first student learning outcome very well. And the other student learning outcome is to evaluate ethical and moral positions that shape individual or group decisions. So for this student learning outcome, my assignment is a very classical and old-fashioned one, the fishing game. So I just use the fishing game to teach the tragedy of the commons, and there are so many different versions of the fishing game. So you could use paper or blackboard and the goldfish crackers, or you could use other creative ways. And also there are a lot of great online platforms such as moblab.com. So I used their software back in like 2015, 2016. Their fishing game was a great one, very vivid. So students could easily learn the idea that the property rights are very important. So here you could find more details. So using games could get students interested in the materials, because externality chapter is quite challenging, especially its graphical analysis. But using fishing game would greatly stimulate students' interest, and they are more likely to actively learn the materials after playing the fishing game. And I usually give some surveys to my students just it's not a formal teaching evaluation. I usually give a survey during the semester, so I could find out what students need, how I could improve. And I was glad to read that students put this. So I would walk away with a fishing game. So they definitely remember this game. And there are many other creative ways to play these games, even you don't have those crackers or other materials. So for example, one time I didn't have my I didn't have the best supplies for this game, so I used this decoration. So I just used those stars. And then I ask my students to consider them as fish, and I have a small whiteboard, so it can serve as the ocean. So actually this worked out very well. Yeah, so the point is that just be creative and just to introduce some games to economics classes, because I understand economics, this subject, right, is relatively quantitative, and especially for upper level classes, there are not many games to play, but we will try our best, especially in the intro level classes. So try to incorporate as many games as possible to stimulate students' interest, especially at a women's college, because based on data, economics is a relatively male-dominant subject. You could look at the gender distribution in economics classes at any co-ed institutions, and also you may look at those major economics conferences, look at the gender distribution. So this is a very sad fact. So how can we address this issue and get more women students interested in economics? So this is one of my major goals, and especially teaching at a women's college, teaching economics at a women's college is very different from teaching at co-ed institutions, because during my PhD, I taught at College of the Holy Cross and Worcester State University, and also I was teaching assistant at my own institution. So I do feel that teaching economics at a women's institution is very different. It's more challenging. Therefore, it's very necessary for instructors to explore creative ways to stimulate students' interests in this subject. And the third course, Women and Economic Development, this is under Domain 5, Women's Experience. Also, two student learning outcomes. One is to compare gender expectations over time and across cultures. So to satisfy this student learning outcome, I've been assigning a journal article, Golden 2006 paper, The Quiet Revolution that Transformed Women's Employment, Education, and Family. This is a quite long paper because I provide students a guideline for them to read and discuss journal articles. So I suggest them to first figure out what is the central question of the paper, and then explain why this issue is important, and then find out the main conclusions of the paper, because this could help with your own thesis writing as well. Because in their introduction part, they have to point out what is the research question, and also the background of this topic. And of course, for first year, second year students taking general education courses, I wouldn't require them to figure out the empirical models or those econometrics techniques. That's not the focus. Instead, I encourage them to be clear about the research question and also the main results, the findings, and I encourage them to find out one specific weakness of the paper, but they cannot say, okay, this paper is too long. Yeah, some students still say, this is a long paper, I hope it's shorter. But in their discussion, they have to be very detailed. Yeah, so in addition to their discussion, they have to reply to their classmates' discussions. So both should be very detailed. They have to come up with very thoughtful comments showing they have really read the paper. And also I encourage them to think about if you are doing this research, what you would do. So this is consistent with the structure of a standard economics journal article, which is about future research, what further research work could be done in this area. So how would you academically respond to the paper? What could you do to investigate similar issues? And if you dislike the paper, what sort of investigation would you conduct to refute or counter the arguments provided? Or what experiment could you run to test some theories or relationships in these academic journal articles? So I believe this is a great practice, and this assignment would satisfy the first student learning outcome very well. So in addition to learning about the main ideas, students' critical thinking and writing and reading skills will be developed at the same time. And also they will learn about the key information that compares and contrasts gender expectations within and across cultures. And the other student learning outcome is to analyze issues pertaining to one or more of the factors shaping women's experience. So what I did is to give a quiz. So you may not give 2 questions at the same time. So basically these questions would help students to satisfy this learning outcome. They are both about gender pay gaps. Because there has been a misunderstanding that, okay, women earn less than men in almost every occupation. And this has been a universal fact. And so students or people who haven't taken any economics class could easily say, they may easily say, this is due to discrimination, gender discrimination, but it may not be like 100% true, right? Therefore, both questions encourage students to design their experiments to find out whether the gender pay gap is due to gender discrimination. So they need to collect data on other regards that would also affect men and women's earnings. So the 2 questions are relatively open, but they test students on the same idea. You cannot easily draw a conclusion that the gender pay gap is due to gender discrimination. Other factors are necessary to be looked at. Yeah, we have to compare many other factors that would also affect earnings. And you need to include all of them. Due to data limitation, you may find some key variables that would affect earnings, but they should be controlled. They should be included in the empirical model. And then we focus on the gender variable. And then our conclusion, whether there is a gender discrimination, would be more convincing. So this assignment, could satisfy this student learning outcome. And also students could use their personal experience to discuss. And lastly, is about our response to the data. So as I said, every time when we teach a general education class, we need to fill out this form and submit it to the general education committee. So here I just I'm still using the Econ 210 class to show you how to show you what this form looks like. So basically, you all just report the number of students in each grade. You will show how many students in your class have satisfied each student learning outcome based on their performance. And then looking at the data reported above, what do you plan to do differently the next time you teach this class to improve student learning on the identified outcomes? So personally, I really love this question because it motivates you to improve your teaching, based on students' performance. And although every time we teach the same class, we may have a very different group of students with very different performances. However, this question encourages you to come up with something different. So this would definitely help with teaching and learning. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's everything that I'd like to share with you. Thanks very much for your time and attendance. And I'll be very happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you guys would like to go ahead and drop your questions, if you have any, into the Q&A module, and we can go ahead and answer them for you. One question that we have is, what is the general education program about?
Okay, so general education, I think I just use my way to introduce at the beginning of my presentation. So this is a very good question. As I said, right, this our webinar might be open to people from all over the world. So this might be new to some instructors. So general education program allow students to explore their interests before they declare their majors and minors. And usually this is a required curriculum for all the college students, and usually in their first couple of years, a lot of courses are in the general education category. And at Wesleyan, as I introduced, right, we have humanities, fine arts, social sciences, natural sciences, professional studies. So all of such areas would enable students to explore their interests, and also for liberal arts institutions. General education is a key program because liberal arts, right, aims to cultivate very like well-developed students and prepare them to become global citizens. So general education program is very, very essential for any liberal arts institutions, and also it's important for those like comprehensive research-oriented universities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The second question that we have is what courses do you plan to develop for the general education program in the future?
Okay, thank you very much. That's another great question. So this is my 11th year at Wesleyan College, and we are a very small institution. We have about like 700 students. So I think I have taught all the economics courses, pretty much all the economic courses at Wesleyan College. And for general education courses, I think I have been teaching the intro level economics courses and the Econ 210, Women and Economic Development. And we have we also have History of Economic Thoughts. I think they are the main general education courses I have been teaching, but my plan is to offer more interdisciplinary general education courses down the road. For example, one of my main fields now is cultural economics, and I have a passion in music industry, and my two co-authors and I have been writing a book for Routledge and since 2019. And we just submitted our manuscript, and our book is in production and should be available later this summer. So we wrote about the music industry. So I'm thinking of offering a general education class in the future on music industry, and also incorporating gender. So especially how women do in music industry, what issues they are facing in such an industry. So these could be part of this new course. And also I'm thinking about offering other general education courses by collaborating with my colleagues, such as those in the fine arts division. And I feel students would be interested in taking such interdisciplinary courses, especially those courses that combine business department and also the fine arts department. So this would be very exciting, and I look forward to exploring more in the future. Yeah, I believe interdisciplinary courses are very inspiring.
Thank you. All
Yeah,
right,
thank you.
that
Thank you.
looks like all the questions we have for today are. Thank you, Dr. Jin, and thank you all for attending today. We will be emailing you a link to view the recording of this webinar once it's available. If you or any of your fellow instructors are interested in presenting for our Learning and Growing webinar series, please submit your proposals to the Learning and Growing website, which I'm going to go ahead and link in the chat now for easy access. These free webinars are brought to you by Hawks Learning, an innovative educational courseware company. To learn more about our mastery-based course materials and how Hawks can enhance your learning outcomes for you and your students, visit hawkslearning.com, which I'm going to go ahead and link in the chat for you as well. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and thanks for your time.
Of course.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.